Do you bake for the holidays? Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to have a feast of sweets. We are working with the new Gingerbread Collection. This just came out for this holiday season and it is super cute, and I'm excited about it because I love playing with cookies and paper, and what better way to play with paper than with cookies, right? Yeah, those are probably the only cookies that won't, add to your waistline. So perfect. We're going to build a gingerbread house today and do the project recipe associated with the Gingerbread Collection. But before we do, we're going to take a look at the components of that collection so that you are going to be super well versed in what's included there. Oh, and just so that you don't forget, if you haven't already registered for the virtual Croptoberfest that I'm doing on November 1st, there's still time left to do that because you're going to use your own supplies at home. And so the registration fee is just for the having access to the lessons that I'm going to teach you and how we're going to put together all of the project recipe and all of that stuff. So if you want all of that and you don't have the plans for it yet, I need you to register. There is a fee for this class or for this event and for access to the Zoom. So if you've already joined the Facebook group, then I've sent you a message reminding you that you need to register and you need to pay the fee or you'll be removed from the group. So that's the good, the bad, and the reality of the whole thing. And then also, if you want to register for my December Days class, I would love for you to join me there. That is going to be a super fun class. It's going to last for 9 weeks, once a week for 9 weeks. And you can access the recordings anytime you want. But we are going to do it live on Monday evenings, beginning on November 3rd. So I hope you'll join me. Some of the pages are going to be custom designs by me. Other pages will incorporate the new CM December Days kit that they've put out. So we're going to do 4 days of December on the Mondays, each of the Mondays in November, and then we'll cut that back to 3, enough layouts for 3 of the days of December on each of the Mondays in December. And by the time we get to the last one, we will have the whole month finished. So hopefully you'll come join me for that too. Registration information for both of those is in the description of this video. So pop over to that and make sure you register. All right, let's check out my workspace and we'll get started with today's lesson. All right, so this is our workspace for today. We're going to play with Gingerbread Fun. Gingerbread Fun is one of the newest collections that we've come out with this season, and you can see how it applies directly to our Christmas season and holidays that are coming. Super excited about this one. It's just got a lot of character and a lot of fun colors and shapes and cookies. Who doesn't love cookies, right? So I just thought we would kind of work our way through it. We've got our beautiful embellishments, which I have kind of sprinkled on top here. You've got everything from cookie trays for using as titles or journal boxes to titles that you can use. Frosted Fun. They all look like cookies, so they all work really well with this collection. And you've got a couple of things that indicate that you're baking them. So these would be super fun, like in the new recipe books that just came out. All of this would be super cute in there. You've got a whole village of buildings that you can add to, different houses, that kind of thing. You've got cookies galore. So just a lot of really cute embellishing you can do. And of course, here's the rest of the cookies that I have. And you've got your own little gingerbread family and some individual gingerbread people and candy canes. Just a super fun, really cute collection of embellishments. You've got also the sticker set, which is over here. And again, has all kinds of cookies and cooking utensils and cute titles. Oh, snap. Super cute. Totally sugar-coated. Ginger Joy, a baker's assistant, North Pole Gingerbread Company. Cute, cute, cute. And your 12-inch borders, which we are going to use some of today in the project recipe that we're going to create. You've also got the cute mats that go along with it. Then the mats are everything from checklists to titles, Baking the World a Better Place, Spice Advice, Gingerbread Architect, a mat for a photo. You've got a split mat, Gumdrop Gorgeous, the best recipe, so you can actually include the recipe there, or put this card in your recipe book with your best gingerbread recipe. Messy Hands, Happy Hearts, the Baking Crew, the Scent of Christmas. You could definitely even put a picture underneath the Baking Crew there. That would be super cute. Lessons Learned, also important info. Cookie Connoisseur, that would be my husband. The Next Level Decoration. I don't know if we've reached the next level in our house, but that's okay. The Sweet Spot. You've got Homemade Happiness, Sugary Fun, and Gingerbread Bliss, Decorating Notes, and our Gingerbread Journey. So those are the fun mats that come along with this collection, which again would be super fun to use in the new recipe book that just came out. This one right here. So if you don't have this and you are looking for a great gift for your children or for a loved one, someone who means a lot to you, one of these recipe books would be a super great gift. They are really, really neat. And last year they sold out in about 5 days. So I don't think they've sold out just yet. They came available beginning a week ago. So hopefully that's because we've ordered, more than we did last time around. But these have coordinating tabs and cards, recipe cards and embellishments and paper, and all kinds of stuff comes with the kit that you get with this recipe book. So super, super cute. And I highly recommend that. We also have the Gingerbread Punch. Look at this. This is so cute. We're going to use that today. And we have the playbook that you get when you purchase the Buy It All bundle. So when you purchase the Buy It All bundle of any collection, then you get a playbook that's going to give you a good start on some great layouts to use specific to this collection. So super fun. This is the paper kit, the paper selection, and you can see. I'll just set this off kind of to the side here. You can see the different possibilities as we look through here, and some of them I've selected that we're going to use today, 3 of them, but these are the remaining sheets, and you can see the variety of colors. There's you've got that. You've got a polka dot like candies on the back of this one. There you've got your frosting. We've got this beautiful, almost a fast to fab type of sheet on the back of the stripe. We've got this one, which is kind of a negative version of dusting of the cookies with the candies on the back. These same candies here. We've got this one, which is mainly like frosting, different types of frosting, and all kinds of cute little houses on the back. So this one was used in the sample of the project recipe that we're going to do today. And then this one, which is super cute. I love all the color in that, and how it all looks like cookies and the pretty red bits on the back. We're going to use that one in our version of the layout today. So that's the paper that goes along with this collection. Let's go ahead and get started on the project recipe. And once again, just like with any of my videos, if you look in the description of this video, it will give you links to be able to obtain these products for yourself if you are interested in doing that. I would love it for you to support my small business. So thank you very much. All right, so this is a 2-page project recipe. And if you've never seen a project recipe before, let me just briefly explain. You get a color version of the completed layout. You get a color-coded version of the completed layout that also has pieces identified by letter. And at the bottom, you get step-by-step instructions. You can follow these step-by-step instructions and put it together. You can also follow my video and put it together. You are also given a cutting guide, always on the second page of the project recipe. And the cutting guide will show you each individual paper and how to cut it with measurements and sometimes a brief explanation of what you are to do with that piece of paper. Then you also get a list down here of the products, the ingredients, as it were, that are used in this project recipe, optional things you might want to think about using or adding on to your project recipe, and the different photo sizes that it's designed to accommodate. Okay, so I love project recipes. They are fantastic for giving you a really nice layout that you can tweak and make personal if you want to, or you can make it exactly the same as the designer had in mind. Okay, so today we are going to start with these papers here, and I've got 3 designer papers and 2 pieces of cardstock out here in front of me. So I've got a piece of Hot Fudge, a piece of blue. Those are CM cardstock colors. So you'll notice they match exactly to, well, maybe not exactly, but they complement or match exactly that blue dot and this match. And the dark chocolate color cookie in this matches our Hot Fudge cardstock. We've got these 3 pieces of the designer papers that we just talked about that we are going to use in this layout as well. Okay, we are going to use this one as the right base sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and set it up here, get it a little out of the way so we don't have it to be concerned over. Okay, in my new space here, let me determine where the best spot's going to be for our cutting guide so you can still see it, but it will be a little bit more out of the way. I think we'll put it right there for today. See how that works. All right, so our very first paper is going to be this one right here, and we are going to cut that, according to designer paper number 1, into an 11 by 11 inch square. So it starts off as a 12 by 12. That means we only need to cut off an inch on each side to make it 11 by 11. So here's an extra piece. We're going to turn it horizontally. We're going to line it up at 1 inch and cut another inch off. So you're taking an inch off of each side of this square to make the centerpiece that we're going to use. That piece is good to go. We're going to set it there. Okay, then our next designer paper sheet is this one right here. This one is directional on the other side, and so we want to keep that in mind because we might want to decide to use this other side. It's kind of, you know, we could use either one if we are mindful of how we're cutting it. So I'm going to turn this so that the lines are going along with where I'm going to cut. They're going the same direction. And we're going to cut this at 6 by 12. So I'm going to use my little cheater flap up here to note 6 inches. If you don't have a cheater flap, then move the arm out on your trimmer and measure 6 inches. And we are going to go with that piece. Then we're going to take the other piece here, and we need a piece that's 4.5 by 2.5. Let's just see where that piece is going to go so that we can know whether it should be turned or not. So it's a green piece, and it's going to be the door right here. So we definitely want to make it so that our cute little gingerbread people can be upright, just in case that's what we are going for. Okay, so we are going to cut this at 2.5, and then we'll cut it at 4.5. Okay, so I'm going to measure this at 2.5 inches, just like that. This will be extra, and let me just go ahead and move my extras over there. And then we'll turn this, and we need to cut this at 4.5. Okay, so we'll go 4.5. That piece is extra. And we've got that one there. Okay, now we're going to need this one. This is the blue piece of cardstock we've got down here. And we're going to, excuse me a second, my decal blade has a mind of its own today. I must not have popped that into place as well as I thought before. All right, so we're going to cut the blue piece, and we're going to cut this into a frame. And you see how we've got one piece that goes all the way around the outside, and we gutted the center. We took the center right out. We need that to be 1 inch, 1 inch wide all the way around. So I'm going to line this up on the 1 inch line on the right hand side of my cutting line. Close the arm of my trimmer, and then I'm going to bring the housing up here and line up this end of my carriage for my blade, the blade housing. I'm going to put this end of that at the 2 inch mark. You can see here on the arm of my trimmer. Okay, and that's because I know that the blade actually comes in contact with the paper 1 inch from this edge or this edge of that blade housing. The blade is right in the middle. So I'm going to line the edge up at the 2 inch mark right here, and I'm going to push down and slide towards me, and I'm going to stop when this edge gets to the edge of the paper, the 12 inch mark. That will give me 1 inch from the edge down here and 1 inch from the edge up here. Okay, and if it overlaps just a little, it's fine because we're going to cover it up, so not to worry. All right, so we're going to do that all the way around. We're going to start cutting at the cutting line. Line up this mark on the side of your trimmer. See how there's a mark right there on the side of the blade housing? You line that up with your cut and then come forward until the blade housing gets to the edge of your paper. Now that we've started cutting, it's a little easier. That first cut, you don't have a cut to line it up with, but all the ones after that, you do. All right. Turn. All right, so now we have our 1 inch frame, which we'll put over here. And this piece that's in the middle, we want to cut an 8 3/4 by 5 inch piece. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to line it up at 5 inches, which is 5 inches is the last grid line on the left-hand side over here. We're going to cut there. This is extra, so it'll just go off to the side to live to scrap another day. Now we need a piece that's 8 3/4. So I'm going to pull my arm out and make sure that the leg on that arm is popped up. There we go. And we need this piece to be 8 3/4. So we'll move that edge out to here, 8 3/4. Make sure it's against the shoulder at the top and trim off that edge. And that will go over there. This will go here as a piece we will need soon. Okay, now I'm going to set my trimmer off to the side for just a second. We're going to grab our gingerbread punch and we are going to punch and then we are going to cut. So first of all, the reason that it says on here punch then cut is because your gingerbread punch is not what we call a chain punch. You can see down here that there is no break in the metal. It's all one piece down here at the bottom and it's connected to the design of the punch. That means this is an edge punch that is going to go punch your design along the edge and stay connected to your paper. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and feed our paper in here. And if you're not familiar with how our punches work, then I highly recommend that you go ahead and watch the video that I created that will walk you through exactly how these punches work. And there's a link that we can post that will show you and make that easy for you to get to, okay? But these punches are super fun. You can see they create sweet designs and can really dress up your scrapbooking page. All right, so there's one. And that's all we are going to need is just that one for this particular layout. We're going to trim this off. I'm just going to get rid of the punch confetti. Toss that. And we'll grab my trimmer again. And we're going to trim this at 1 3/4, which means I can feed it into the right-hand side of my trimmer and go ahead and scoot that design all the way up so the rooftops, the peaks of the roof are touching the outside edge of the graph on the right-hand side of my trimmer. That's where I'm going to trim this off. And there are our cute gingerbread people and their home. Then we are going to take the remainder of our paper and we're going to turn it horizontally. We're going to cut 2 1-inch pieces. And let's see. You know what? I take that back. First off, we're going to make this 8 inches. So let's pull our arm out. We're going to cut this at 8 inches. Okay, so we're going to just trim off a couple of these inches on the outside. We don't need those. We're going to go over there. We're going to turn this horizontally. Move my arm back in so we can see what we're doing. All right, we're going to cut 2 pieces that are 1 inch. So they're 1 by 8. Okay, so there's 1. And here's 2. All right, and then the remaining pieces here are going to be our house. We need to find the center of our house and we need to mark that. So what I'm going to do is take my paper, turn it horizontally. I'm going to grab a pencil, which I have hiding over here next to my desk. There we go. Okay, grab a pencil and I'm going to take a note of where the 4-inch mark is right here. Okay, just going to put a little mark right there at 4 inches. Then I'm going to turn it this way and I'm going to measure where the 5-inch mark is right along the edge. Okay, so horizontally, we mark the short side at 4 inches. We mark the long side at 5 inches. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now let me just determine here how the best way to do this is going to be. I'm going to line this up at 10 inches on my trimmer so that I can mark the 5 inch on the other long side. All right, so there we go. Now we've got a mark here and a mark here. I know you probably can't see those very well on camera. Maybe you can. So those are 5 inches from the top. And this one right here in the middle is 4 inches from the top corners. Okay, so it's in the center. Now we're going to take this piece and we're going to line up that center mark and the side mark over here on our cutting line. Just line that up right where you're going to cut, and you can see on the trimmer where your blade's been cutting, so you should have, that shouldn't be too hard to go ahead and line up. And we're going to cut that off. Then we're going to turn it over and do the same thing, going from the 5 inch mark over here to that center point we just made. Take the time to adjust it if you need to. And there's the other side. Okay? And there we have our house. Isn't that cute? All right. Now, let's go ahead and get some of this put together here. All right, so I'm going to flip back now that we have all of our pieces back over here, and we're going to take a look at, there we go, now you can see. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is, and I'm not necessarily following the instructions that are at the bottom, because I'm a visual person. I tend to just look at the picture and assemble things from the picture. Occasionally I have to stop and I have to make myself look at the directions. But for the most part, most of the time I do okay just watching. So I'm going to put adhesive all the way around this big square we made, the big 11-inch square we made first. And I'm going to put this, making sure my adhesive is as close to the edge of this square as possible. Now, if you use our repositionable adhesive, then it won't matter if you are not right along the edge, because you can rub it right off. So keep that in mind. It's a bonus for using the repositionable adhesive. All right, so I'm just going to center this on here. And taking a look, just eyeballing it really to center that, okay? And you should have plenty of room on that frame if you put your adhesive right along the edge of your paper so that you don't have a lot of sticky showing. Yeah, none. Good. Okay, so here is our, I'm going to just take a look and decide which side I want up. I think I want the swirlies to be on top and the X's to be on the bottom. So we're going to go with that. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and this is going to be next. But look at what they did in the drawing here. They drew some cute little bricks onto the house. And I want to do that too. So let's do that. I'm going to show you how, okay? So I'm going to get my white pen, and CM does sell the white jelly roll pens. That's the white pen that they recommend. I've been using a white jelly roll pen for many, many years, and it does work really, really well. This is what it looks like, the white jelly roll pen. All right, and so if you have one, that's what's going to be best on here because it will mimic the frosting, right? So that's what we want. I also have this one that's made by Baoke, Baoke. I'll put a link to this in the description of the video. It's pigment ink, so it's not going to fade over time. It's something that I got through Amazon, and since I am an Amazon affiliate, you'll be able to go to that link, and I don't know. I guess I'll get a little something from that. I have no idea. I've never gotten anything before, but I'm supposed to be able to get something nice, a little something from referring you over there. So we'll see if that happens. All right, I'm going to take my house and I'm going to turn it over and line it up on my grid on my desktop here, because my grid on my desktop is going to help me keep my bricks in order, my ducks in a row, as it were. All right, so first thing, and I'm just going to take a closer look at this. They've got, looks like every maybe 3/4 of an inch, maybe. We've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe it's every 1/2 an inch. Yeah, they made their bricks every 1/2 an inch. So we can just do that. We can just make our bricks just like they did, every 1/2 an inch. They've already done the math, so it works. So I'm just going to draw a line across. And if you're worried about lining things up exactly, you could line your zero centering ruler up and be able to get nice straight lines. This is going to take just a minute to get nice straight lines and make sure that we are all not crooked, especially on these middle ones, because it's not as easy to line up. The 1 inch or the full inch ones are easier because I have a line at the top and the bottom. All right, what's going on with my pen? Can you hear it squeaking? Listen. I'm going to turn my ruler around so that I can use the lines on the ruler to keep my line straight. There we go. Okay. I think I'm going to come back up here. Oops, I smudged it. Drat. I got anxious and excited, and I smudged my line. Drat. Not too bad. Could be worse. Okay. I think maybe we'll just leave it at that. All right, so now we're going to turn this towards us. I'm just going to wipe off this edge so that I don't accidentally get white ink. And now I'm going to line this up on my grid again, but going the other direction. And the reason is because now I can come in here and I can add my brick lines. And I can go every other line and add in my bricks. And you can make your bricks as wide or not wide as you want. I think my bricks are going to be My bricks are going to be about 1 inch wide, I think, because I think that will be easiest. Maybe. Well, maybe they'll be 1.25 inches. Let's make them 1.25 inches. So 1.25 inches would mean that right there is going to be my top row. Whenever you play with ink, it's always going to take just a little bit of time, but it's well worth it, I think. Oh, I see. I measured wrong. So we're going to do an 1.25 inches, and then 1 inch, and then 1.25 inches, and then 1 inch. That's 1 inch. Okay, I think that is it. All right. So we've got our bricks, and now we have a little bit of a decoration. If you can see on the pattern here, they've got also a little bit of a decoration kind of going up and around the roof right here. So we could do that as well. Let's see. I think I want to see what this looks like. All right, so this is going to just be centered right on our backdrop, right like that. So let's go ahead and get this put on. And I'm just gonna eyeball that too, but you can measure it if you need to. That is fine. All right, so there is our house. Then we have these pieces. These pieces are our roof. And they have a cute little sticker that goes along the edge of the roof pieces. The roof pieces go right on here like so. And then we have an embellishment at the top there to cover up a multitude of sins, because those two pieces are not gonna necessarily, you could make them overlap so that they look really nice and neat, but I think it's just easier to cover them with an embellishment. So we're going to make the roof come out just a bit so that it touches the edge out here. And I think I'm also going to pop that up just to give it some dimension. But before we do that, we'll get those out just in preparation. Before we do that, let's take a look at our 12-inch stickers and see what we might want to use. Now we have these half peppermints, which are what they've used on theirs, and it is super cute. If we want to do something different, we could use just the frosting. They've used the frosting going up the sides, which makes total sense because you're going to have frosting up the sides of your house. Let's see. So like so, which would be super cute and will show up really nicely on this darker background and darker house. So I think I am going to go ahead with the peppermints on the edge of the roof. The reason why we need to decide that now is because it's easier to put these on before you pop them up with foam squares. So I'm just going to move that up there, take my sticker and run it right along the edge of this piece. Then I'm going to grab my scissors and we're going to just trim that off. Okay, and then this piece can go back onto my sticker sheet and maybe we can use it in something else at a later date. Okay, so then we'll take the other one and go ahead and add it to this other piece. This one, I'm going to start this one from the other end so that it's going to stay whole. I won't have to cut it in half for the end of my roof shingle. Okay, so now we've got our roof for either side. We'll go ahead and add this back to my sticker sheet. And we're going to use this sticker along the edge here because super cute, right? I'm just going to trim that off along the edge down here. And we've got enough in this same one that we can go ahead and add this on the other side. I'm just going to trim off this partial one that I just cut and give it the same edge so that it looks similar to this one. Okay, so then that's going to go right here. And then I can take my scissors along here and trim that off. All right, we can put this back also. We want to use that again somewhere along the line. All right, so we'll set that over there. Let's get our foam squares put on the back of our roof. Okay, so I'm going to use these big ones right here. I think it's going to add better stability. The other thing that we might consider doing is rounding this edge right here, which, let me find my corner rounder. I think that would look cute if we rounded that outer corner just a little, like so. All right. So let's continue with these. We're going to put one down here at this end. We don't need to round the corner on this end because it's going to be underneath an embellishment, so we won't be able to see it anyway. And just for stability, I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of slightly smaller ones in between, like that. All right, so with our corner rounder, we are rounding this outer corner on the end that's going to show. Okay, then we're adding our foam squares. All right. Now we can take the stickers off of this. And I'm going to lay these down together so that hopefully that will help them be a little more in line. At least that's what I'm thinking in my head. Let's see if that comes together, shall we? Okay, so this one's going to go this way. This one's going to go this way. I want my edge of the peppermints to be right along the edge of the house. And actually, I am going to have to do this one at a time. And I want this corner edge to be out here at the edge of my paper. So that means I'm going to need 2 hands. All right, so I'm going to lay that down there. This one, we're going to line up and lay down right there. And then we'll cover this top part with an embellishment or a couple. We'll see which ones we choose. All right, so this one is basically assembled. However, we do have this piece right here, which is meant to be the door of the establishment. And they are using a photo. You can't really see. Let me show you. They're using a photo in their doorway, which would be totally doable and very cute. And you could actually use the gingerbread side of this paper, but I think if I use the gingerbread side, I would want to mat this in another color first. So I think maybe I'm going to stop or think about that for a minute and decide which one I want to do before I adhere that. We've got the possibility of putting a picture here in the doorway. You've got they suggest a round photo to go up here. So we'll figure out what size photo that needs to be so that you know. You could also add a picture over here in maybe a window size, which would be cute. They just put an embellishment there, but I think it would be cute to put a photo and make this cute page more of a three photo page rather than a 2-photo page. So let me think about that. We'll come back to that in a minute. Let's work on our companion page, and then we'll come back to that. Okay. So this is our paper that I've chosen to be the right side of the layout. This one over here, and we are going to take that 6-inch piece that we've cut and decide where it's going to go. They've got it roughly a 1/2 inch from the top, so that would put it right about there. And we could use this side of our paper, or we could flip this over and use this side of our paper. And I'm inclined to use this side of our paper if we choose to use the right side of this. And that's because then it will match if we happen to see this paper. I don't know for sure that we're going to see this paper, so I'm not sure about that. Okay, so then the mat that we made is going to go down here. So we will see a little bit more of our base paper over here off to the side. And we can put 2 4x4 photos in here, or 4x4.5 even, which would be lovely. So let's see. I don't want to necessarily copy the sample that we have, but I'm inclined to go with this route. I feel like it's a little less busy than this. Although I like the busyness of this because photos will go on top of it. We won't necessarily see everything on here. But I think we're going to go with this side, because we still have our gingerbread punch piece that we need to put on here. Okay. So much for discussion. Let's just get her done, right? All right. We are going to put our candy pieces down, and I'm going to go with, actually, I think more of a 3/4 of an inch from the top. And the reason is because I want to be able to see some of that base paper, some of those words. And if I put it a 1/2 inch from the top, it's going to be too close. You won't see any of those cool words. So we're going to go with that. And then our mat's going to just be centered in here so that we have an even amount of base paper all the way around it. All right, and then our punched gingerbread people. I love repositionable. We can just go all the way across all those open bits, and we don't have to worry about it sticking. It's my favorite for a reason. Okay, so then I'm going to put this just a smidge up on my base paper. Not all the way on the edge, just a little bit raised, so that we have a little bit of a border between it and our base paper. I just feel better about that. All right. Now, let's move these triangles because they're extra. They're just going to go off to the side there. We're going to move this over and just make some decisions here. Now, because we have this over here, I'm going to go ahead and round these corners. I think I'm going to choose this side to be the top. I'm going to round these corners, and we're going to make this our door. Just like that. And I think I want to add a little bit more of a blue accent to that. So I'm going to grab the rest of that blue cardstock that we had left, and we are going to make a mat for our door. And then that way, if we choose to put a picture in there, it'll be double matted, which will be kind of cool, I think. So the measurements on that door were 4.5 by 2.5. So we don't need a huge outer mat, but let's do 4 3/4 by 2 3/4. So we'll just turn this long ways horizontally. We'll cut it at 2 3/4. And then we'll turn this and make it 4 3/4. It was only 5 inches to begin with. Then we'll go ahead and round the corners on one end. And place our door right in there. Oh, it's a little bit too long. That's my bad. Let's cut this. We're going to trim 1/8 of an inch off of this, so that mat will be a little more even. So instead of 4 3/4, it would be 4 5/8. All right. So this door, I'm just going to line it up between 2 of the brick markings. There's our door. All right, we need some embellishments for the top of our house. We've got this one that says Frosted Fun, which would be super cute, I think, to put right there. Oh, I forgot to show you this embellishment. It says Certified Cookie Critic. Isn't that cute? Super cute. Okay. We could put something else that is our title, Treats and Traditions. That would also, I think, be very cute to add up there. Or we could go with stickers. Let's check out our stickers. Let's see. Santa's cookies. So you don't have to build gingerbread houses to use this collection. I love that. Totally sugar-coated. Chief decorator, baker's assistant. Smart cookie. I think I like the treats and traditions that are up there. We could add a little cookie next to it. Maybe these two of the frosted stars, maybe. All right. So I'm going to put that there. I'm also going to add a foam square to this just to give it some support because it's going on top of our beams for the roof and they are popped up. So just so that it's not just sort of hanging out to dry, we'll give it a little bit of support in there. Okay, so there's our treats and traditions. And we're going to add just a couple of little cookies. Off to the side of it. Just rather like that. All right, cool. All right, so let's determine the size of that circle so that you know how to mount a photo in there. And then we'll talk about embellishing the right side of the page as well. So this is a 3.5 inch photo that they've recommended go in this space right here. And let me grab my CCS system and we'll figure out. It's a little dusty still because I haven't really used it very much since all this construction's been going on. So the 3.5 inch circle is actually not going to be using the small circle. You're going to use the largest circle pattern, and you're going to use the red blade, and that will give you a 3.5 inch circle. All right, to go in the middle right there. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a mat for that. So if the photo is 3.5 inches, then we would want the mat to be slightly larger. So I'm going to use my small template and my red blade, and we're going to make just a quick little mat to go around the window. Now, the window that peeks in on that photo. So we're going to cut that real quick. All right, and then that would go right in that area. So let me put some adhesive in there. We're just going to slide that up underneath there. Since our embellishments are popped up and I've got a foam square there to stop it, basically I just slide it right underneath. Okay, so there's the mat for our 3.5 inch photo. And then a couple of cookies maybe next to that would be nice. Let's see if I have something in here that we could use. Might be a little bit too big. It's cute though. Let's see. We could use a couple of gingerbread people off to the side. Or they might kind of get lost with my dark gingerbread. What about these guys? They're a little lighter. Oh, we've got some green ones. Let's see. I'm going to put these back and use these guys up here that are dressed in green just because I think we've got lots of red on here because of our peppermints, but not so much in the way of green. We'll put our little people next to our photo, which will probably be a picture of a house or possibly our loved ones. Okay, and we could add a little, I like the hearts that they have on theirs, but we could add, we've got some stars we could add, or just some frosting. Add a little frosting doodad off to the side, like so. All right, I like that. Okay, so then let's look at the other side, and I'll pull some photo mounting cards so we can see what it'll look like with the pictures added. Okay, so we've got a 5x4 and a 4x4 and two 4.5s. All right, we're just going to cut some that are the right size because those are kind of odd sizes for us. Okay, so we need a 5x4 and 4.5 square. So this one's going to be the 5x4. And this is just scratch paper I'm using for now. That'll go up there. And then we said 4 by 4.5. So 4.5. Four and a half by 4. So it's a little taller than it is wide. All right, so that's going to go there. Let me grab a pen and we'll mark it so you know. This is 4 by 4.5. And this one up here is 5 by 4. Okay, that one is 4 by 4. All right, so we needed some embellishing on this page, and then we will be all good to go. So let's see. Well, I think we need a little bit of something over here. Maybe a cookie, maybe a title, maybe Frosted Fun, and we could add a couple of cookies to this cookie. I think. Let's get the Christmas tree and the candy cane. And we add that on just like so. Kind of like that. And we could pop that up off the paper. Let me get my powder and powder this sticker because otherwise it's going to stick where I don't want it to stick. I like this layout. This is a fun layout to put together. You'll have to try this and tell me what you think, because I think it's just super cute. Okay, so we're going to put Frosted Fun kind of right in there. And we'll be able to slide our picture right up and underneath there, so no worries. No worries there. We should put something up here. And maybe Frosted Fun, Treats and Traditions. They've used something kind of narrow. I think it's this one right here, actually, the Spice Baby. I think I'm going to use Tasty because it's got a little bit of blue in it. And that's just kind of cute. And then we could add, what else could we add to go with it? Maybe our gingerbread family. Nope, too big. Too big. Maybe just some snowflakes. We could put Tasty on top. Like that. What do you think? I think I like that. I think I'm going to do that. All right, so let's grab or adhesive. And I flipped it over so that this cookie down here with the thicker icing is at the bottom, because my brain thinks that way. It's heavier, it needs to be on the bottom. I know that may seem silly, but that's okay. All right, so Tasty's just going to be stuck down as a sticker, so that works. And then we've got those, and we've got these. Yeah, I think that's going to do it. What do you think? Let me know what you think. I am curious to know what you think. If I was to put a photo right here, I would definitely cut another piece of that blue cardstock and create a mat for a photo that would go right there. Maybe I would just make it, I don't want it to take up the whole house, but let's give you a measurement real quick. I think I would make the mat 2 3/4 by, let's make it 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. And then the photo that would go on top of it would just be 1/4 of an inch less. So and should be around the corners of that. I don't know. I think I'm just going to leave it. I set that down before I was ready. I think I'm going to center it kind of in the middle of all of those bricks. Put that down right there. All right, and then a photo that would go, so this measurement was, just going to grab a regular pen this time. So the mat measurement was 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. And the picture measurement would be 2 1/2 by 3 1/2 for this mat right here. Just so that you have that in case you are curious and you want to add that to yours. All right. All right, I think that does it for this one. I'm excited. I think this one went together really well. I would love to know what you think. And we didn't do the little swirlies that they did on the house there, but I think you could take your white pen and go through and add a little decoration if you wanted to your gingerbread house border that's over here, or even to the inside or outside of the roof right here. I think that would be totally cute. In fact, I may go ahead and do that before I take the picture for you so that you can see an example of something, and then you can choose what you want to do on your own. All right. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope this has been fun, and I hope this is something that you'll do for your albums. Until next time, enjoy your day, and I hope you have many more creative moments. Take care.